$0 to $1 million in just 4 months. I'm going to show you in this video exactly how we pulled this off for a brand, an e-commerce brand specifically, but I'm going to break down the exact principles, thought processes, and how we pulled this off so that you can replicate it for yourself or take the learnings.
In 60 days, we're at 250K a month, and then within 60 days after that, we're over $1 million. I'm just watching going, yeah, wow, okay, this makes sense. This is amazing. Yeah. This is great. I'd 100% recommend Pursuit. I have recommended
Yeah,
Pursuit.
you have actually.
I love where you guys are. It's just a team that is big in its own right, but it feels like you're dealing with one person.
This is a great product backed with incredible marketing understanding and psychology. So I'm hoping to give you the second piece of the puzzle, the marketing understanding and the psychology and the scaling frameworks for you to replicate this. And the principles apply across all sectors of business, whether you're in e-com, lead gen, coaching, high ticket SaaS. The scaling frameworks and how you approach this is all the same. So hopefully to share some absolute gems with you, but $0 to $1 million in 4 months is an absolutely incredible run. Let's break down exactly what we did, how we went about it. So first thing is focusing on inputs over outputs. Now I know this is basic understanding and this is a kind of like a no-brainer, but the things we did focus on were the customer acquisition model, how we actually got customers at an efficient rate. The product was obviously had to be incredible. We had our proven content framework, which I'm going to run you through in this video. Building a brand, not just a product where you're just liquidating cash. A business model that allows you to scale, really focusing on the pricing psychology and ensuring that consumers understand the price to value discrepancy. The overall funnel, making sure your CRM flows are absolutely tight. CRO, sorry, I should break down these acronyms in case you don't know. CRM flows is basically email and SMS, and then CRO is landing page conversion rate optimization. Objection handling in our creatives, so we made sure that any opposition to someone buying this product was completely handled from the creative, not even on the landing page, but handled on the creative. And then a strong CAC to LTV, meaning our cost to acquire a customer versus how much that customer is worth to us over a 90-day period was significantly different so that we could ramp up spend at lightning speed. And as you can tell, it worked because we hit $1 million in 4 months. So focusing on those things as opposed to focusing on like revenue, profit, amount of customers, these are all outputs of getting the inputs right. So let's break it down. 4 things that you need to get right. This is our demand engine framework at Pursuit Partners. This is what we do with all the clients that we work with. And this has been validated over 7 years, working with some of the biggest brands in the world, over $21 million just on Meta ads. So this is a Meta play. There's obviously the Google side as well that ties into it. And this is every channel, but this specific one was on Meta ads. So there's 4 things you need to get right. And I'm actually going to draw for you so you can follow along. 4 things you need to get right. The narrative, which is basically what message are we going to put out to the market that's going to draw the right customers. The creative is how are we going to take that narrative that we've produced and tell that story in a creative, visually intriguing or verbally intriguing way. Distribution is what channels are we going to approach this on. With the narrative we have and the creative that we produce, what channels are we going to get these eyeballs from? There's a number of different channels that you can go onto, whether it's ads, organic, YouTube, influencers, you can do blogs, articles, SEO, the list goes on. And then economics. So what are the fundamental business economics that allow us to scale at lightning speed? This is one of the most important pieces because without that, you just burn through cash. So, but when you have your economic model dialed in, you know that dollars in result in dollars out. Maybe not immediately, but based on how much your customers are actually worth. And that's essentially the 4 things that we need to focus on. So I'm going to start with the top one, narrative, and run you through how you can get your narrative right and what we actually did to have this absolutely incredible run for this brand. So in every purchase, there's 4 things that need to be there in order for a customer to buy. So we think of this as our ideal customer in the middle. Status, trust, value, and desire. These are the 4 things. Without these, a conversion or a purchase will not happen. So how do we create those 4 things? The demand engine consists of 8 pillars, and this is your creative or narrative angles that you need to hit. So what we do when we jump in is we just basically create ads around these 8 core pillars. And when you handle these 8 core pillars and you create advertising or content around them, you handle pretty much every objection that a customer might have, and it creates this flywheel of trust, status, value, and desire, which, as you can tell, it works. Customers just convert. It's actually crazy. We've validated this on a number of brands now in so many different industries and niches, and this is our process. We jump in, replicate this, and get these 4 categories right, and you will scale at lightning speed. So what do we do specifically? Credible advisors. This particular brand had doctors and research scientists backing the brand, so we made sure that the customer knew about that. That builds trust heavily. Association groups, we focused on runners and athletes. People want to be like groups that they want to be a part of. Fears, people were worried about getting sick, health issues, wasting their money. So we addressed all those. Cost of the problem, by not solving this, you are spending a stupid amount more money on your supplement stack, and also you're not seeing the benefits that this product gives you. So that's the specific one for this niche, and we just created content around that. Belief in a better future. You need to show your customers that by using your product or engaging in your service, their life gets better, and tangibly showing them what those results are. Clear solution to the problem, so clearly articulating what the product is, what the service is, and how that helps them, and then showing what the outcomes and benefits are. And then a massive one here was social proof, just showing people back-to-back, well-edited creatives of people loving the product, loving the taste, having good outcomes. And once we hit all these pillars, the scale is just phenomenal. Your cost per acquisition drops, and this is what we did, and it works very, very well. So that's kind of your narrative and creative combined, was taking this narrative of these 8 pillars and then just creating ads in a visually intriguing way. So you kind of get the drift there. Another thing that we do is we've obviously spent a lot of money on ads and testing. So I have this framework. So we would basically just jump in and mimic ad concepts that we've already validated. Ones that I've already seen work, ones that have already run it, 5, 6x return, ones that scale very, very fast. We've done a lot of this, so we have a bank of things that have already been proven. So for example, here's 5 problem solution hooks. This is a template, so we take it and tweak it specifically for the brand. So you can get access to this, just drop a comment or message me and I will share this with you. But yeah, we just take these hooks that we've already validated of millions of dollars of spend and just dupe them into the creative formula there. Next, distribution. So distribution is a massive part of the process, and it's essentially the media buying. So I don't know if you've heard that concept before, but it's where are we going to allocate our spend in order to get the highest efficiency return on our ad spend, or get the cheapest customers that are worth the most to us. Now, this is what a digital strategist or a media buyer's job will be, managing the ad accounts or managing your organic socials or whatever the platform may be. This particular brand, we focused on one channel and we just doubled down on it. So for this one, it was Meta Ads. Meta Ads is an incredible channel for the first meal. Now that the meal's passed, channel expansion's there, but you can just nail one channel to hit the first meal. Another thing that I really want you to understand, if you're just listening, have a look at your screen super quick. Value engineering is a concept that is incredibly important in this process, because how the customer perceives the value of your product or service will determine whether you can acquire customers efficiently, how long they stay, and whether they actually buy your product. So what we want to do is maximize the gap between the price and the perceived value. So the first line we've got here is cost. Second line is the price, or what the end consumer sees. And then the top is the perceived value, the pink line. So the gap between cost and price is our profit internally per sale, but the customer sees this. Now, the psychology behind widening this gap comes down to back to those 8 pillars that I showed before, just up here. Where are they? Here. Your ability to articulate these 8 pillars and drive status, trust, value, and desire will determine how the customer sees the value gap. And the wider this gap becomes, the more likely they'll convert. And in business terms, that's basically your conversion rate will go up. So, which obviously helps the overall unit economics of the business. So this is really important, and dive into psychology here. That as humans, I love studying this a lot, is understanding the way we think. And this is a critical piece of the puzzle. So it's just something that you can keep in mind. Then last piece of this 4-stack triangle: narrative, creative. We spoke about distribution, and then it's economics. So like what the business model is actually built on. So what we do, this is sample data, so don't think I've exposed anything here, but this data sheet is a Pursuit Partners dashboard we use that pulls all the core metrics that you need to be understanding in your business, from purchase frequency over 3, 6, 12 months, customer lifetime value, how much a customer is actually worth to us. And these are critical metrics in understanding how we can scale at lightning speed. Then we run a dashboard so we can understand a CAC to LTV ratio, which I mentioned at the start as an input. So you understand how much profit you're making per sale. And to make this easy, if this is getting a bit complex for you, basically what we want to know is how much is a customer worth to us over 3 months. And based on that figure, if you want to scale as fast as physically possible, is understand what your profit is on that, and you can run your customer acquisition cost all the way up to that figure. Okay, so let's say your lifetime value of a customer over 90 days is $250, and your cost to fulfill on those orders is $150. That way you have $100 in additional profit to play with. Now you can either take that to the bank, which makes sense. There's a lot of cost in running a business. Or if you want to aggressively scale, and this is what a lot of the big companies who are going for exit do, who want to get acquired by huge VC firms, they're actually going for valuation figures. They will break even on 90-day lifetime value. So they're losing money on the front end, knowing they're going to recoup that in the future. Now that is a very aggressive scaling model, but that's how you can just fast track and eat up a lot of the customers in the market much faster than anyone else. So if you think about it in an alternative scenario, if you're trying to wait for the profit to come in through every month and figure out, okay, I've got this much profit, I can reinvest that back. A business that's scaling based on LTV is already tripled their spend, tripled their customer acquisition, and they're just going to outcompete you. So LTV based acquisition is another big thing here. And that's kind of the 4 things that we focused on, right? To hit a mill. We got the narrative right. We produced that narrative in a creative way through our ad creatives. We focused on distribution through one platform, getting the lowest CPM or cost to advertise as physically possible, and ran the scale framework based on clearly calculated and precise unit economics. And that's literally it. Once you have that, once you see those leading indicators, once you see the KPIs hit, you can scale at lightning speed. So I can send you a bunch of these resources if you found this valuable. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to replicate this for yourself, or you want to see some specific ad creatives that we actually run, specific examples, then I'd be happy to chat to you. But yeah, hopefully this gives you some context and the thought process on what it takes to scale. Obviously, I didn't go into incredible amounts of detail in this video, but it gives you some top-line context on the way you should be thinking about this. So I hope you got some value. If you want the resources, drop a comment. There'll be a link in the description where you can download a lot of this, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.